Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. It looks almost certain now that there will be a whole series of public sector strikes throughout the summer. The reason for this is that local authorities have, on average, offered 2% as a pay rise, or, as we like to call that in the real world, a pay cut. In real terms, it's a pay cut of about 3%. Given that inflation last year was around 10%, it's actually bigger than that. It's about an 8% pay cut in real terms. This is not good. The unions want more. They're saying their workers, their members, cannot exist on the paltry wages they're given, and that with still rising food prices, fuel prices set to rise, oil and diesel and gas and whatever all still going up, and ever increasing bills and the cost of living crisis, it isn't enough. People are just not earning enough. And you can tell this by an increase of people who are working but claiming benefits. Why are these subsidies going through? They shouldn't be needed. The fact is councils aren't paying their workers enough. Strange how council leaders can get massive pay rises and all the freebies and travel and allowances. But the people who actually do the work, the ones down at the bottom on the pointy end of things, get sod all. Well, they want more, and who can really blame them? And so they are prepared to go on strike, and councils know that they are truly up a gum tree without a paddle. After all, it was they who confirmed that there'd be a council tax freeze. Let's take a look. So Scotland faces summer of strikes, as councils set to offer workers a pay rise of just 2%, which is actually insulting. You'd be better off not giving them anything than offering them 2%. 2% is saying, oh, we just don't think you're worth it. Here, have some shit. That's literally what they're doing. At a time when inflation is running at around 5%, and where it's previously last year hit 10%, you know you're going to need more than 2% to keep these guys on board. And of course, you've gone out and gone, look at us, virtue signalling to the SNP. We'll freeze council tax. Yay. And then this. How are you paying for it, boys? Well, there's only one way, isn't there? You're going to have to cut something, because there will be no services. They'll just come out on strike. They'll do it at the right time, or if you like, the most inconvenient time. And if you truly want to and I say this to the council workers there, if you truly want to make things difficult for them, don't alienate the people. Keep your rubbish collections up. Keep, the services going, but don't do anything for the council's buildings. No maintenance, no cleaning, things like that. Let the actual council offices fall into disrepair, bins overflowing, things like that. Don't do anything for the council offices. Make them suffer, not the people. You'll have the people on board, the people backing you, and the councillors will be sitting there mired knee deep in their own shit. And that'll be fantastic. And when the toilets break at the council offices, go, no, we're not repairing them. Not until you pay us 5% or whatever, whatever your bins are. Fantastic idea. That way, the people are on your side. The people are saying, yes, you're doing direct action, but you're not doing it against us. You're doing it against them. And that's brilliant. Consular chiefs are recommending a pay rise that has been blasted by trade unions. Scots are facing a summer of discontent, made glorious by that. No, we won't do that. As councils are poised to offer hundreds of thousands of staff a risible 2% rise. Schools, leisure centres and libraries could shut over an offer that is below the rate of inflation. And again, find out where the councillors live and target their areas. Make everybody in their area point to the council and go, it's his fault. It's his fault. Her fault. She did this. And do it that way. Make the councillors be the bad guys. Scottish ministers who stand accused of cutting council funding to the bone have been urged to cough up more money to avert industrial action. If you can afford £45 million on road signs, you can cough up a bit more for council workers, don't you think? STUC Secretary Ros Foyer said, General Secretary, Ros Foyer said, whilst it will be a matter for Unite, GMB and Unison to consider, it's risible, if not downright insulting, that workers are here yet again trying to fight for a decent offer to be put on the table. You cannot continue to play politics with people's jobs and livelihoods and not expect workers to take action to defend themselves. When you've got the head of council in Glasgow, for example, earning more than Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister of the country, when you have MPs in Parliament just giving themselves a 6.7% increase. MSPs getting a 7% increase. Councillors across the board getting about a 5.5% increase, and yet offering the ones who have to pick up their shit 2%. It's insulting. Council umbrella group COSLA will this week table a formal pay offer for local government workers. We previously reported how some councillors budgeted for a 3% increase, but it's understood the COSLA recommendation is for 2%. It's almost as though they just want strikes. They must be going in there going, well, we know they're going to reject it. We know they're going to strike. Let's go and offer it to them. And then they'll reject it and strike. And then the COSLA are going to try and make it the workers are the bad guys. The workers are not the bad guys here. When you have these council leaders basically upping their own wages massively while giving these guys at the bottom nothing, it's the councillors who are the bad guys. A senior town hall insider said the final decision on the offer will be made by council leaders at a meeting tomorrow. He blamed the 2% offer on the Scottish Government pressure on local authority budgets. Well, yeah, you all kowtowed. You all got down on your knees and kissed Hamza Yousaf's ring. Yeah, we'll freeze our council tax budget. Don't blame this on anyone but yourselves. There's no one else to blame here. You're all the cowards. The councils are facing a financial crisis, he said, and we're all making cuts and balancing our budgets with reserves. You shouldn't be using reserves to balance. We've only made modest provision for pay, and that is all we can afford due to the Scottish Government funding cuts and the council tax freeze. Rephrase that, due to Scottish Government funding cuts and our decision to freeze council tax. That could not be imposed by government. Your decision, not government decision. Don't lie. With inflation currently running at 3.2%, it's only this month. Previous month it was 4%, and at the end of the year, end of last year, it was 6.5%, and that was within the pay period that you're looking at over the past year. So it's a load of bollocks. He said this offer would give local government workforce an effective pay cut. And of course it is. Anything that is below inflation is a cut. Unions told the Record a 2% rise would not be acceptable. And it is in that line that you know there are strikes are coming. I'm not going to go through the rest of it. It's just people sort of saying, oh, blah, 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 blah. And covering stuff we have about council tax rises and councillors earning more. But yeah, they're absolutely right. Anything under a rate of inflation is a pay cut. They've had endured years of pay cuts and they've had enough. And I don't blame them one bit for going on strike and say, yep, absolutely they should. But don't affect everyone. Just affect the councillors. Don't do their buildings. Don't do their anything they need with. Find out where they live and don't empty their bins. They'll soon come round. Coming up. The SNP keep talking about raising things up, lifting people out of poverty. And then they do their damnedest to put as many people as possible into poverty. You keep cutting people's wages. You keep driving them tighter and tighter. They have less and less disposable income. Then all you're doing is driving people into poverty. As McCorber said, income 20 shillings, expenditure 19 shillings and sixpence. Result, happiness. And that's what these people are doing. They're making it, this is what the SNP government are doing. They're making it harder and harder for people to have sixpence left at the end of the week. Why? It's deliberate. It's got to be deliberate. If they can find 45 million to wank away on road signs, they can pony up the money to give these guys a decent pay rise. I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.